Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Summer Goodfellas.
Oh my gosh, we need to get better at these intros.
No, they're perfect.
Worst intros.
No, they're not.
Of any podcast.
You know, hey,
we don't say the name. We don't say who we are. We just jump into.
I said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Summer Season 3 Goodfellas. You just kind of like you mumble your way through it.
Oh, oof.
You have a tendency to like always be like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. This is awful. It's not awful. This is the best.
It's the best thing ever.
Get on board or get off the boat. I don't know. Is that a phrase? Hi, everybody. This is episode 3 of Summers Off Season 3.
That worked
right?
That worked out well for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, guys.
Yeah, we got
We're your hosts.
Ty.
Rach. Roll call.
Can I get a roll call? Oh, by the way, this is very off topic, but we've talked before about wanting to get a hot tub.
Okay.
And, you know, because can I get a hot tub? Do you remember that commercial?
Sure, yep.
And sometimes I think about what would it be like to do this podcast in the hot tub? I know there's electronics and water usually aren't friends, but
When you say sometimes, like, how often have you had that thought?
it's crossed my mind one other time for sure.
One other
This
time
is probably
for sure.
2.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't be perturbed.
It's
not
a great
been a lot
idea.
of-
It's a great idea.
Yeah, something to think about.
A logistical nightmare, but a great idea. I love it.
Hey, you want to fill our audience in on any movies, TV shows that you've been watching lately?
Oh, boy, do I.
Oh, boy, howdy. Nothing would please me more.
Sure. Yeah, since the last time we chatted, we watched a couple of movies. We rewatched That Thing You Do.
Oh, so good.
Like last week. Yeah, that movie just jumped its way into my top 10. It's so great.
I wasted so many kisses on you.
Shame
Shame on me. I will never waste 1,000 kisses on anyone ever again.
That is
No, it's not the lines, but that's how she delivers it. It sounds just like this.
It doesn't.
But I love it. It's really good. Like, I think it's super romantic. I make fun of Liv Tyler, but that was good.
Oh, but that was really good.
Mhm.
We watched, similar to this, we watched Irishman.
Oh, yeah. That was, yeah, you're right. That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. I'll be honest, Goodfellas, Irishman, same movie.
No.
Exactly the same movie, just
Not at all.
a different decade. Same cast.
No, same.
No Ray Liotta.
No Ray Liotta.
Which is really unfortunate. Why didn't he get to make
I know, because he's
an
Irishman.
Irishman? Everyone else got to come back for that. Shouldn't
There-
Ray Liotta have had like a little part? Just like a baby
Hey,
part?
I disagree with you on you saying these are the same movies. They are very different. There's the political aspect to it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a politician in The Irishman that's like the big central thing that
I
goes
know.
around. There's no politicians.
That's true.
Yeah.
I like that better.
You liked it? Oh, okay. Hey, don't what do they spoil the ending? But like, there's another thing. Don't bury the lead.
Bury the lead?
Have you ever heard that before?
No.
Don't bury the lead.
Don't
I think it's
bury
a
the
newspaper thing. Like, don't. Well, I'm probably messing it up now because this doesn't make sense. I was gonna say don't like tell exactly how you feel about something in the opening sentence, but when you say bury the lead, it makes it sound like it's the opposite of that. Like, don't not say that because then people are gonna be like, well, what's this article about?
We are off to such a rough start
You always
today.
say that, but I would say we're off to a fantastic start.
Very good.
Rachel Ann,
Yes.
tell us about the movie Goodfellas.
Is it Goodfellas or Fellows, first off? I just want... I just want to make sure I say it right.
We watched the movie Goodfellas this last.
So it's Goodfellas.
Goodfellas,
Is it us?
yeah.
Okay.
Like, you guys sound cooler than that. Like,
Goodfellas.
are you Italian?
Yeah.
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. Yeah, we watched Goodfellas.
Oh, we watched Goodfellas. You sound like a Brit or something. Goodfellas. It was very nice.
Oh, boy. Okay, so this movie, it's a mob movie, so...
Yep.
There's not much to say other than it's a mob movie, and it kind of follows one character specifically in his ties to said mob.
Mm-hmm.
Different jobs that he has to go on to, different things that he gets himself in. He's like, ah, crap, now I got to bury this body, or now we got to chop up this person or take care of that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, and then all the way until he gets a little bit mixed up with drugs and he shouldn't have. He was strongly discouraged from doing that, and so then the mob turns on him, but then he turns on the mob, and that's the very end of the movie. So, yeah.
Okay, so this is a movie. I saw this like in undergrad. Okay. And thought it was pretty dang cool. Mm-hmm. I still think it's pretty dang cool. Yeah. I think it's got some cool moments. I think it's pretty fun. Mm-hmm. Like I'm like intrigued the whole time I'm watching it. Mm-hmm. But it was another movie that while I was watching it, I was like, oh, I'm losing Rach again. Like I can just tell. And here's Rach's tells. When you know that she's starting to lose interest. Ruh-roh. She'll play with the dog more. She'll pull out her phone like for a split second.
I was taking notes.
No, I know you were.
Giz is just very lovey. Yeah. She just wants to be pet.
But when you're really engaged in a movie, you'll be like, you'll pet Giz, but you'll stay watching the movie. But you like turn away from the movie and you're like facing the opposite direction and playing with Giz. I'm always like, oh no. And same thing happened with Goonies. It's like, oh no, I'm losing her. And so this is another one. Hey, but this is payback season.
Payback season.
So, in the interest of payback, it kind of just goes along with what we're doing here.
No, it's not a bad movie. I'm kind of like leading off hotter than I really feel about it. I think the acting's great, and we'll get into all of that, but yeah, it just like, as a story, like pick a climax. Where is it? Mm-hmm. Is it at the end? Is it at the last minute and then it's over? I don't know. Martin Scorsese is just so obsessed with the mob, and I just...
We're gonna chat a little bit.
Are we gonna get into this?
Let's
get into this. Buckle up, ladies and gents.
Yeah. All right. Let's do this. Put on your face masks. Let's go to Universal Studios and ride the roller coasters. All right.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
So this is based off of
a book?
Yeah.
It said that at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. I wish you didn't see that. Because you used to make fun of me because none of my movies are based on books.
I'm really impressed.
Like Mortal Kombat, Teen Wolf.
Can you imagine? They were based on the
Ladybug's book.
Oh, it's such a terrible movie.
Yeah,
guys.
This is a horrible. But yeah, this one's based off of a book, and the book is called Wise Guy.
Wise Guys.
No, I think it's just Wise Guy. I think it's just singular.
Just a wise guy.
There's just one wise guy.
Singular.
Yep. To go along with Goodfellas. And that book came out in 1985, and it's all about our main character, played by
Ray Liotta.
He plays Henry Hill is the guy's name.
Oh, is that what you wanted me to say?
Henry Hill. No,
okay.
You rocked it. You killed it.
Henry Hill, Ray Liotta,
yep.
Synonymous.
I
didn't know who I was watching.
Do you know Henry Hill? Wow, that sounds very interesting. So Scorsese, he had came out with a mob movie back in, I think, the 70s, or maybe it was I think it was in the 70s, and it was called Mean Streets. And I think it has Robert De Niro in it.
Yeah?
And so he did this mob movie that was really, really well received. And before he did this movie, people had kind of caught wind that he was maybe thinking about doing another mob movie, and he like sworn off all mob movies. He's like, I'm done with mob movies. I think I'm not going to do these anymore. And Marlon Brando even came up to him when he found out that Goodfellas was getting made, and he said like, don't do it. You need to back out of this right now.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is a bad idea. You have had a perfect career up to this point. You do not want to do a second mob movie. It's going to ruin your career. So Marlon Brando tried to talk him out of it.
He didn't direct, or Scorsese didn't direct Godfather, right?
No,
okay,
that was
just making sure.
Ford Coppola.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Francis.
He swore off mob movies in the 80s?
Yeah.
Scorsese?
I know. Because then he does like a string of them. Like after this one, he does Casino, which Joe Pesci in both of these movies is the exact same character.
Well,
he's an insane asshole in Casino as well. He's like, I'm going to kill everybody and like act like an insane person.
Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
But he's fantastic in The Irishman. Can we just talk about that for a second?
Why
Joe
is
Pesci,
he fantastic in The Irishman?
Because he's so simple and he's so old. And
he is.
Just like, your heart breaks for him. He's so old.
Okay,
he's so cute.
I'm going to compare him to something that's going to sound disrespectful, but I mean it in the most honest, sincere, and sweetest way.
Okay.
He reminds me of an old dog.
Oh.
That you're like, you used to be like yippy and kind of annoying, But now you're this old sweet dog who's like really nice, and
Don't
you're
have
just
the
like,
energy
oh,
for
you
it."
don't have that much energy, and you're just tired, and you're so simple. And I just want to love you even more than I ever did before. So yeah,
true.
I
That's
thought
true.
Pesci was lovely, and
Mhm.
I don't know if lovely is the right word, but
Lovely.
really good.
Just a real sweetheart of a guy.
What an angel. So Scorsese obviously ends up doing another mob movie after this Mean
Obviously.
Streets, and then he does like 18 others.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, I guess we can talk about this right now.
Sure.
Out of the Scorsese mob movies, do you have a preference?
Okay, so talk about a few of them.
Okay.
We've got
There's this one. There's Casino.
I've never
There's
seen it.
Irishman.
Seen it.
There's Departed.
Seen it.
I think those are probably what people would say his main four are. I can't think of any others off the top.
Yeah.
But, and I guess Mean Streets, but I haven't seen that. I don't think you have either.
So I did really like The Irishman, but and Scorsese has this thing, I believe, about editing. I think he thinks that everything is solid gold and nothing can be cut. And my friend, you are wrong. You are wrong. You
Hear him.
need someone else to come in and say, hey, we don't really need a 15-minute scene with the guys repeating the same thing over and over again to each other. We could just do that in 2 minutes, I think. Like, he gets stuck in that. And I know there are probably people out there who are
Who
like,
think it's
but
cinema
that's
genius."
Scorsese. Like, that's his signature. It's like these long, uncomfortable scenes or these pieces that don't seem relevant, but they are. And I'm probably just too much of a novice when it comes to film critiquing to understand it.
Yeah, well, and I don't think it's that. I think some people can be like, that's genius. Look at that long shot that
Oh
they did
yeah,
going into the
great
casino.
long
That's awesome.
shots,
That's amazing.
cool ideas. But he does a lot of the same tricks though too. Like
Yep,
the,
for sure.
the turn to face to the camera and the interview at the
Mhm.
very end there with Ray Liotta when he's taking the stand and he's like
breaks
basically breaking all the
yep.
mob offs. Yeah, he breaks that fourth wall. He looks at the camera and he just monologues and walks to the camera out the court. Because he did that in like Irishman too. Like there are different movies that he does that in. And,
Wolf of Wall Street, big time.
oh, that's
Yep,
right. Yeah.
yep.
So again, like, is it cool? Yeah, but when you do that for every major film that you do, I don't know. It kind of feels like a trick.
Yeah, for sure. For
A
sure. I guess my acting friends would call that habituals.
It's a habitual.
That's a Scorsese habitual.
He's pulling a real Scorsese.
So, okay. I think all his movies are too long.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I have friends out there that are like, no, there's no such thing as too long of a movie. People love the slow burns and stuff too. I get very like antsy in a movie when it overstays its welcome, and
Sure.
I can't think of one. This one's actually the closest to not overstaying its welcome for me.
Sure.
I think every other movie overstays its welcome.
Yeah. So is this your favorite Scorsese
Yes.
mob?
Easy
Wow,
style.
solid.
Yep.
I would say mine is probably Departed.
Have you
That's
seen
probably
it
my
recently?
favorite. No, I haven't. But hold on. Before whoa, you're gonna come at me and you're gonna be critical when you ask me what my favorite was, and you just shared that your favorite was this movie, and I don't think I said anything.
Yeah, but you're going to.
Because you're gonna ask.
Yeah.
I didn't ask how you felt about Departed.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
All right, I'll ask you. Ty, did you like The Departed? What did you think? Why isn't that number one for
I think
you?
Departed is an interesting movie. It has some stellar performances from Matt Damon and Mark Wahlberg and some other people who are really good in it.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch that movie, Jack Nicholson is off his rocker in that
is.
movie, and not in a cool way. Like, I think he's
Yeah.
annoying. No, he's not. He's like annoying, like Jack Nicholson crazy. And anybody who's like, no, he's so cool, he's so riveting, go watch like almost every Jack Nicholson movie. He's nuts. And he's the same way in this movie, and I think it's not interesting. He's just too crazy. It doesn't make any sense to me. He's not a real human being. And then Leo, go watch Leo. And I swear, if you think Leo is good after watching that movie, you are out of your mind. He's crazy.
Must act harder.
And then what's great is because I've always stood by, like, any movie that you see Leonardo in, just imagine now Matt Damon replacing him. And in this movie, what's cool is you get to watch them back to back in scenes. You even get to watch them in scenes where they're talking to each other. And you're like, wow, one of these people is so good and the other person just sucks.
You just hate Leo.
I don't.
You
I think he's
do.
good in some things,
Oh,
but
hush,
in The
you hate
Departed,
him.
I was
Don't
not a
even,
fan.
Don't even.
I like him in some things. I like him in Gangs of New York. I like him in Titanic. I know Gangs of New York, which some people hate him in that. I like him in Titanic. I like him in What's Eating
Did you like him
Gilbert
in
Grape.
Growing Pains too? Did you like him also when he was
I
like a
never saw
12-year-old
Growing
boy?
Pains.
Yeah. Why don't you pick
You're
something current in this decade?
I thought he was good in Wolf of Wall Street. He was entertaining. I didn't think he deserved an Oscar, but I thought he deserved to be nommed. I liked him in Hollywood. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Sure.
I thought he was better than Brad Pitt.
Yeah. I
I think he was
disagree.
my favorite in the movie.
Yeah.
I
I
liked
really
him.
liked Brad Pitt. I thought he was so Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
It was
I
so
know.
great.
He was just himself. It was boring.
Why does that matter? Anyways,
This is
we're
lame.
getting way
Yeah,
off the
we're
beaten
off.
path. We're gonna.
Yep. I didn't like the part. All right. So it was okay. It was good. It was fine. So Scorsese gets a hold of this Wise Guy's book. He had already
Wise
swore
guy.
off.
Wise guy
Oh yeah,
book.
Wise Guy. You're right. He had swore off all mob movies. He reads this book, can't put it down. He instantly calls the writer and is like, "Oh my God, this is the book I've been waiting to be published for years. I have to make this into a movie." And then the author, I don't have this written down, but I think he said something like, "This is the phone call I've been waiting for years. I can't wait. Let's get together." And so they immediately wrote the
Adorable.
screenplay and got it all on its feet. So I want to talk a little bit about the real Henry Hill.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is based off a true story. So much of this is actual live events that have happened or speculative events that they
Sure.
thought like, we're pretty sure so-and-so killed this person. We don't know for sure though. So the real Henry Hill, he is a wild gangster. He starts at a cab stand just like he does in the movie. That's all real. And his dad used to beat him up all the time just like you see in the movie. And he had a really hot and cold marriage with his wife and had all these mistresses and stuff. And they had a couple kids. So some things that they didn't talk about in the movie, though. His son was super bright, like genius levels. What did you say?
He had a son.
He had a
Henry Hill
son.
did?
I know. I think he has two daughters
He
in the
has
movie.
two girls in the movie.
He has a daughter and a son in real life.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And his son, what's that thing that you said? You said like a phrase or something at one point where it was like for genius levels and you thought everybody would know
Menza.
it. Menza, yep. So he would be Menza.
Oh.
Little school psych
Oh,
term
look at
for
you learning something. Hey.
So he was very, 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 very bright.
Okay.
And they had like a weird relationship between the two of them. And in fact, Henry Hill, which we saw kind of in the movie, he would beat up on his wife a little bit,
Okay.
Karen, every
Sure.
once in a while. And there was a moment in their lives where they got into this big altercation and their son tried to break it up, but he didn't just break it up like just physically getting involved. They had a mace in the house. And he took a mace off the wall.
What?
And he swung it at his dad, and his dad like dodged it so he didn't get hit with it or anything. But he attacked his own father with a mace.
I mean, I have a couple of things that
Okay.
I have questions
I
for.
don't know if I'll have answers, but go for it.
What are they doing with a mace in the house?
Oh, you saw how much money was coming in, all that
I
coke
know, but
money?
like that's not like that's not a decorative piece. A mace?
Oh, babe. If we had money for it, you know I'd have a mace in this house.
God, no,
It'd be right next to our legitimate broadswords.
No way.
Yeah, we'd have multiple
No
broadswords
way.
for me and all the kids.
Oh my goodness.
We'd have a mace. We'd probably have a couple pikes. Maybe a small catapult.
Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, lesson learned. Don't put a mace in your house. Otherwise, your son might swing it at you.
Well, or don't attack his mom.
And that's really the lesson
That's
to
really
be
the
learned.
lesson.
That's really, yeah.
No, I like this. Let's not talk about domestic disputes or anything. We're only going to talk about maces.
Just
in
talk about
houses.
maces.
We've got a master sword in our house. You want to tell everybody about that?
Not really. I'm pretty embarrassed about it.
Don't let Trev listen to this one.
I'm just kidding, Trev. I'm so glad you bought that for Ty.
I pulled it out the other day and I was playing around with it.
You're not supposed to play with it. It's not a toy.
Well, I'm just swinging it around. Otherwise, it just sits
You better
there.
make sure that that dog that we have is not around you when you're swinging it
Well,
around,
You'll
sir.
be happy to know the dog was asleep with you.
Wait, so Giz and I are in bed, and you're just out there, probably like in your underwear in the living room, just like
How'd you know I was in my underwear?
Because you're getting ready to go to bed. That's a little peek into our lives.
Yeah, it's
everyone.
more training than anything else.
training.
Yeah, for sure.
What are you training for?
Cat on a hot tin roof. Trying to get my brick body.
Oh boy.
Hey, by the way, for everybody, I don't know if this has happened yet by the time this releases, but we're going to be putting on a production of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof
Yeah, we are.
that you should come check out.
It's online.
It'll be online. It'll be
Yeah.
streamed, so it's like doing a little piece of theater, but it's doing it through a streaming method. I think it'll be pretty fun and
We've
cool.
been having a great time doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's been a blast. Seriously, one of my favorite projects I've ever done. So far it's been doing great. It's been going
Ty,
great.
that's fun.
All right, let's get back to the movie. We'll talk about that again at the end, Mabes. All right, so he also had a daughter, and he really treated his daughter like she was a daddy's girl. You know, like he'd call her princess. That was her nickname.
Is such a stereotype in the Italian mob culture. Can we just talk
Really?
about that for a second? All of the girls are Italian princesses.
He called her princess all the time. That was like his name for her. And he also bought her a horse.
Of course he did.
But get this, he got into some financial trouble, and he put the horse up on a bet to try to win some of his money back, and he lost the bet, and so they had to give the horse away.
That also sounds about right.
That's a
Typical
real
Italian
mob
mob
story.
movie.
Now, because it's Henry Hill's story, and the book was written about him, but that was like a different agreement. But in order for him to be shown on the screen, they had to pay him a lot of money. Do you want to guess how much money they paid him to use his likeness and his story?
$1 million.
Oh, not that much.
Okay.
$550,000.
He was bought cheap.
Yeah, well, you know what? He would tell you the same thing, because he said as a wise guy, he made $40,000 a week.
Yeah?
Now, Rach,
Wow.
$40,000 a week. How much money is that a year? Go.
No. My brain just shut off.
No,
I won't do it.
Go ahead.
I won't do it.
Just guess.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. You're going to have to.
$40,000 a week?
I freak out
times
when we
50,
do mental
2
math.
weeks? Go.
I'm not doing it.
It was over $2 million.
Oh, good. Good to know. So just so you guys know, maybe you don't remember this, but Ty tried to, in season 1, make me do mental math, and he wouldn't.
What episode
cut.
was that?
I don't remember. We don't need to know that specifically. But I downright refuse to do mental math in front of people or timed. Like any game that requires adding or multiplying double digits in my head, nope, I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've
I'm
talked about...
I'm kind of a brat about it, to be honest.
Yeah, you are. We've talked about, too, like... we talk about how our minds work when it deals with numbers, and your mind is much different than mine. Like I do like a little thing, and you like do an actual math problem, and I take all these shortcuts to find answers, or to like approximate at least. And I think you go through the math problem like you'd set it up in class.
That's exactly how I do.
Yeah, and so that takes
then
too
I
long.
lose
So
my
for me, I
spot.
just find a little sneak attacks to try to get close to the number.
Yeah. Well, and that is good math braining. I can't even talk right. That's all. I'm so fried.
You're bad at linguistics and mathematics.
You put me on the spot. I can't believe you put me on
That's
the spot.
good math, brain. All right, so he would make $2 million a year, a little more than that, and yet he was still broke all the time because he partied so hard, and his lifestyle was just so exorbitant that he had this crazy lifestyle that you ate up all that money.
See, the hardest thing for me was leaving the life. I still love the life. And we were treated like movie stars with muscle. We had it all just for the asking. Our wives, mothers, kids, everybody rode along. I had paper bags filled with jewelry stashed in the kitchen. I had a sugar bowl full of Coke next to the bed.
Now, this leads me to this question. Was Michael Jordan addicted to gambling? If you have watched The Last Dance, by the way, this episode's really like sporadic. This is a real like ADHD
Yeah, if you thought
episode.
that's what we were talking about, you're wrong.
If you've seen The Last Dance, Michael Jordan documentary, they talk about his gambling addiction.
I think for
Do you think
sure.
he's addicted?
I think gambling, I think just addicted to being competitive. Like it didn't matter what it was. He just had to compete.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, oftentimes that would come out through gambling. But oh yeah, fascinating. Can we just talk about how many times I said fascinating 2
Oh my
episodes
gosh,
ago?
yeah, you did.
It's kind of embarrassing.
You should do a counter. Like you gotta do a little
sorry,
count
everyone.
to see how many times
It
he
was
says
very
fascinating. But I started in
interesting.
on it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that was Starship Troopers, first
Yeah.
episode of the season.
And then last episode, I think I said the word problematic like 40 times.
Yeah, but last
No joke.
episode, I also took a lot of pot shots at 30-year-old women, and I am sorry.
Yeah.
Because
thank
you guys deserve to have whatever movie you want to have.
Yeah.
I just didn't like your movie.
Okay. We, as 30-year-old women, I will speak on behalf of us,
Oh, well, thank you.
accept your apology.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I was nervous about
we
it.
can be friends again.
You horny 30-year-olds. So you'd say yes to the Michael Jordan?
100%.
Okay,
100%.
cool. So back to Henry Hill.
Yes.
The casting in this movie, the initial Henry Hill was not supposed to be Ray Liotta. It was going to be probably the biggest male star of the early 90s. Do you want to take a guess on who that would be?
Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Nope, but that is a fantastic guess. That would have been late 90s, mid 90s, Rach.
So Devon Sawa?
Nope, not Devon Sawa either. Henry Hill was almost played by Thomas Cruisius.
Wow.
Yeah, Tom Cruise got offered the role to start off with.
I don't know if I could see Tom Cruise doing an Italian accent. Can you see him doing something like that?
Not
Being
really.
believable?
And he's buff, but he's so short too, and like he'd be next to so many tall guys. I know they fool around with that in Mission Impossible to make him still look like really athletic and dangerous looking.
Sure.
But I just can't see it. This is a different kind of danger, and I don't know.
I don't
but
see
then
the
again,
dialect work. I don't know.
Tom Cruise can surprise you though.
That's true.
Like I thought he was really good in Last Samurai, and he'll be doing surprising things every once in a while. So I want to count him out, but it would have been weird.
You know what he really surprised me in?
What?
Tropic Thunder. Do you remember?
Yeah,
that?
I do.
He had
It's
a
a
fat
small
suit
cameo.
on,
Yeah.
and he does like a song or dance or something. It's very surprising.
Oh, that's right. He's like,
He's like balding.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. I haven't seen that movie in a
Oh,
long
it's
time.
just full of surprises.
Well, another person they considered was Sean Penn for this role.
Oh.
Now, in Mystic River, he plays like a character that I think that you can kind of see a correlation a little bit. Like, I think Mystic River, he's really good in that.
Yeah. Sean Penn can do mob movie for sure. I can
Yeah.
see that.
So that might have been interesting.
He's just not as attractive. I mean, Ray Liotta is a very handsome man.
Even with those teeth?
Let me finish.
Sorry.
Minus the teeth. I never realized that his teeth were so bad. I think he has since had them fixed because, yeah, they are just, they are yellow.
Did you notice in the scene with all the mob wives, she's like hanging out with all these mob wives, and they all had like something really weird physically, and like one girl had like the brightest yellow of teeth I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Another one had this weird mole that almost looked like hair was growing out of it.
did, yeah.
And then another one had like crazy makeup on and stuff and weird hair, and it's just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They really found like some real winners. I mean, I think that was the point. Like make
It
up
was.
these girls
As
to
she's
look
like panning the
crazy.
room, she's talking about like how all these women like, you know,
This is
had-
Ray Liotta's wife.
Ray Liotta's wife in the movie is talking about, getting into the mob and all of these mob wives and how she was kind of surprised that like they were all kind of in tacky clothing and like overly too much makeup on. And
Yep.
just none of them were very attractive.
But then I thought by the end, she kind of starts to do that. Like notice that last apartment they get, and it's got like the wall that moves and everything. Like she's turned into like a tacky mob wife by the
for
end,
sure.
which I thought was kind of cool.
For sure.
Speaking of Karen Hill, that's
Yes.
his wife's name.
Yes.
She was initially supposed to be Madonna.
What?
Madonna was supposed to play Karen Hill.
Oh. I'll be honest, I don't know what I was thinking.
You Karen Hill was supposed to be Madonna?
Wait.
Like, then Madonna became Madonna? I mean, I said it weird, but you got to stick with me. I have tiasms all the time. Usually you're pretty good about staying
it's
with
the
me.
mental math thing again. I'm still trying to
Math
do
brain.
I'm still trying to do the math in my head, so I'm not 100% with it. I'm carrying the zeros. Okay, Madonna.
Yep.
Oh, interesting. I mean, she would have been more attractive.
Sure. Yeah.
And depending on when this was, I mean, I could see Madonna in this role. She actually probably been pretty good.
Well,
I think. I like her.
Madonna, right before this movie, she did, well, I think it was almost at the time, because League of Their Own happened in what year?
Oh, you're not allowed to quiz me on
Sorry.
movies that I had a while ago. 90-ish.
Okay, cool.
Somewhere
So
in the
that was before
90s?
this. She's doing Dick Tracy pretty much while this movie is filming.
Oh.
And so I
well,
don't know if she
okay.
gave it up for Dick Tracy or how that kind of worked out, or if the studio changed gears a little
Yeah.
ways in or what. But it was initially offered to Madonna,
Well,
or they almost cast Madonna, I guess.
That
what
was
my notes
probably
were.
a mistake on her part.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're
You
gonna
just
get...
watched Dick Tracy. What do you think?
Oh my gosh, it's awful. It is horrible.
Yeah.
Yep. We're gonna actually have a little more Dick Tracy talk, and I mean, I'll just go into it right now. Al Pacino was supposed to be Jimmy. That's Robert De Niro's role.
In this movie?
Yeah.
Oh.
He got offered that role before De Niro.
God, those two.
I know. They're
Just
always interchangeable
always,
constantly.
always.
Yep. And so he got offered that first. And he turned it down because he said, I don't want to be in a mob movie anymore. I'm like done with mob movies. And then, get this. He not only like immediately after, like it's the same year, during the same film time,
Mm-hmm.
he takes on Dick Tracy he's that mob boss. He's the bad guy named Big Boss.
cartoony one.
Yeah, he got nominated for a freaking Oscar for that.
What?
He got nominated for Best Supporting Actor for
In
that
Dick
role.
Tracy?
In Dick Tracy for
What?
I don't even remember what his character's name is.
I'll
Big
be honest,
Boss.
I need to see this movie.
Well, he says now that was a terrible call, that he
Mm.
should have taken this role instead and played Robert De Niro's part.
I mean, well, I'll be honest, is between him and Scorsese, I don't know which is funnier. Them trying to say that they're never going to do mob movies again. That's like Joe Pesci saying that. That's like De Niro saying that. Like, what do you think you're good at?
Yeah, truth.
You need to know yourself as an actor.
Robert De Niro's good in that movie with Anne Hathaway where he plays the intern or whatever. That was a good
He
one.
was fantastic in that movie.
We watched that with your family. I was like, oh, this is horrible.
Oh, it's a stinker.
Yep. So Ray Liotta though, Scorsese really wanted Ray, and he had seen him like in a TV show and thought he like did perfect. And he'd seen him in another movie too, and he's like, oh, this guy's perfect for this role. But the executive producer wasn't really sold on him and thought that he just didn't have enough charisma. He thought he was kind of boring on screen. And Ray Liotta had actually gotten offered the part of Harvey Dent in the first Batman movie with Michael Keaton.
Harvey Dent. He's
Yeah,
not
I think
a
it's just
Harvey Dent.
well, it's a small role in that movie though. It's not a big deal.
I know, but still, like Harvey Dent is like the shining beacon of hope, and Ray Liotta, like he always looks like he has eyeliner on.
No, that's true.
He
And
does.
Yep, he looks a little sinister, I think.
Yeah,
at times.
he's permanent bad guy.
Yeah.
He just is. That's just his look.
Well, so Ray Liotta, though, he wanted this role really bad. The studio and Scorsese and the executive producers, they were all arguing about it. They brought Liotta in a few times to read for it, and there was just like a lot of consternation about what to do with this main character. And Ray Liotta finally seeked out the executive producer, tracked him down in a bar, and he just went up to him and he was like, this is why you need to cast me as this part. And he just started like rattling off all these things and telling him about why he'd be the best person. And finally the producer was like, okay, this guy's ballsy enough to approach me for this. It feels like a little bit like the character would do. Like, I feel really good about this choice. And so then he gave Scorsese his way.
Okay.
What'd you think of
Wow.
Ray Liotta?
I thought Ray was good in this. I think, set up to succeed in that role.
Mm-hmm.
When he's cast right, I think he's really good. But it is really hard to see him in other roles other than mob boss or, someone in shady business dealings, that kind of stuff. He just kind of always plays like a shisty guy.
Sure.
It's
yeah.
just what he is. He's like a used car salesman guy
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in life.
So Joe Pesci.
Yes.
Joe Pesci plays the role of Tommy DeVito.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about Tommy?
Yeah, Tommy DeVito. So,
Yo, Tommy DeVito.
so I think, and I might have missed this at the beginning, but when our main character,
Mm-hmm.
not
Henry.
Harold Hill,
Not Harold Hill.
not Harold Hill.
Oh, we got trouble. Who's also a shyster. Who
Shy-
also tries to trick the town of River City.
Yeah, Ray Liotta would be great as a Harold Hill as well. But in this movie, he plays Henry Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is that Joe Pesci as a younger Joe Pesci when they're together as
That's
kids?
how I took
It
it.
sounds just like him when he's like, hey, how you doing? I'm Tommy. I
Yeah.
think he says that. So,
Yeah.
which also leaves me to, like, I'm really confused, like, age-wise, because all of a sudden Joe Pesci is supposed to be the same age as Ray Liotta,
Yep.
and Robert De Niro is, like, an older
Yep.
figure. It's just weird having just seen The Irishman and it being reversed.
Sure.
So, anyways.
And then also, Joe Pesci, what's kind of interesting is he was way older at the time of this movie. He's 42.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's playing, like, I'm guessing he's supposed to be in
They
his
say
like,
they're
late
20.
20s.
They say they're 21 at the beginning, like when it's first
Yeah.
when it's those two first together before he goes to jail. He's 21 for 5 years and then he comes back as 26.
And Joe Pesci is not an actor who looks younger than he is. Like he looks like he's the age that he is.
Yep.
Anywho, so he's kind of like the sidekick, but he goes off at the handle. His character, like any kid, like serving him drinks or messing up anything, like he'll turn around and then he'll shoot him.
Tell the truth, you're looking for sympathy. Is that it, sweetie?
Why don't you go fuck yourself, Tommy?
Fucking you're right. Don't believe what I just heard. Hey, Spider, here. Hey, this is for you. Attaboy. I got respect for this. He's got a lot of fucking balls. This kid. Good for you. Don't take no shit off nobody. He shoots him in the foot. He tells him to go fuck himself. Tom, you gonna let him get away with that? You gonna let this fucking punk get away with that? What's the matter? What's the world coming to?
Yep.
Like he's just AWOL.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to end up cleaning up a lot of his messes. Can I spoil towards the end?
Yeah,
what
for
happens?
sure. Yep.
So he gets called up because he's going to be, they call it getting made, and essentially he thinks that he's going to become like the next mob boss. Like he's being indoctrinated into this fraternity of Italian head boss mobsters. And when he gets there, they shoot him.
They whack him.
They whack him. Thank you.
He
They
got
whack 'em.
whacked.
He went and took a nap with the fishes.
You know what I like is that we both done New York for shows, and I think we're pretty decent at it. But on the spot, we are like horrible at getting into
I
it.
don't know what you're talking about. That's like Italian.
Yeah, for sure.
Not good though.
I love it. So Joe Pesci, he's 42. He's only 5'4".
Yeah.
He studied his ass off to try to get ready for this role.
Did he have to?
He had to like look into the history and temperament of this guy, the character that he played, because his guy was dead. And so he read all these books and he interviewed people about his character and stuff to figure out what the real DeVito was like.
Yeah.
But when actual mobsters came to see the movie,
Yeah.
they didn't like his portrayal, and nothing wrong with how he acted.
Yeah.
But the real Tommy DeVito is 6'2" and was only 28 years old when he died.
Oh.
And so they're like, this guy's way old.
Yeah.
He's super
so
short. Like the real Tommy DeVito was such a badass and was like real big and like just a threatening guy. And
I
this guy's
see.
so short, he doesn't seem threatening to me, even though he's so crazy in the movie.
So crazy.
So Joe Pesci, he has a scene in the movie. A guy comes home. And he's like, I just got home, Tommy. Why you busting my balls here? And then they're like yelling at each other across the bar.
Oh.
You know this part that I'm talking about?
Yes, yes.
And that guy's like a made man, and then Joe Pesci kills him, and then they have to figure out what to do with the body and stuff because they gotta get rid
Starts
of
a
it.
whole mob war.
Yep. And so
Tommy.
that whole section, Joe Pesci, the guy who played opposite of him, his name is Frank Vincent. Those two are super close in real life.
Oh.
So close. They were in a band together.
What?
They grew up together. They were in a comedy duo at the early part of their careers. They used to do stand-up comedy
Whoa.
together. And they were in a ton of movies together. And in fact, they have this like running thing where like when one of them would get into a mob movie, because they both got really into mob movies,
Sure.
they would get the other one hired to get whacked by them.
What?
So like Frank Vincent's done movies where he kills Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci has killed Frank Vincent, I think, in 2 movies. And so they have this like back and forth thing where they always kill each other in movies.
Well, that's fun.
That's pretty good. That's a
real
hoot.
fun. That's cool.
So I want to talk a little bit more about Jimmy Conway. We already talked about Al Pacino was offered that role first. That's Robert De Niro's character.
Robert De Niro's character, yes.
Yeah, so
Jimmy.
Yeah, so Jimmy was also Pacino, for one thing, we never talked about this. He thought that was his one shot to do a Scorsese movie. And even as late as like 2015, he had done interviews where he was like, I regret not doing that movie because I'll never get to do a Scorsese now because Scorsese's winding down and I'm winding down. And then The Irishman comes along and that like becomes their moment together.
And I thought Pacino was excellent in
He's
The
really
Irishman.
good in that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would have loved to have seen him in this too.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like De Niro.
Yeah.
I do.
I do too.
He's pretty simple.
Mhm.
Sometimes so simple that in this movie, like, were you doing anything?
Sure.
But still good.
Yeah.
I would say very solid.
Another person who got offered this role, and I'm interested to hear your opinion on, is John Malkovich.
Oh, interesting.
He got offered before Robert De Niro.
Do you know off your hand, like, has John Malkovich done, like, any mob movies?
Cyrus the Virus, Con Air.
I mean, I think he's a great villain in the right movie, but I don't know if I can see him do a mob.
It would
boss.
be
I don't
interesting.
know.
Maybe. I don't know. I want to
Yeah.
count him out.
Yeah.
Like before. I want
Okay.
to count him out, but I'm glad they went with De Niro.
Me too.
I think that De Niro is really, really excellent in these kinds of movies.
Mm-hmm.
And De Niro, so it's interesting that you said like sometimes it felt like he was like too subtle, where you're like, well, are you doing anything kind of moment? Because that was one of the big critiques with this film, is that he made the character really sly and cunning, and like is a very thoughtful character. Like you could see the wheels turning a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that came across like he's just thinking as he sits there.
Sure.
But people said the real Jimmy was crazier than Tommy.
What?
The real Jimmy is like almost a serial killer.
Oh.
He killed over 50 people. He was like a maniac. Everybody that knew him was like he just would fly off the handle and kill somebody for no reason, almost like the Joe Pesci character.
Yeah.
And that's the real Jimmy.
Oh.
Yep. And so people were kind of a little bit like, this portrayal isn't exactly accurate because of that.
Huh.
But he got super into like researching his character as well, kind of like Joe Pesci did. And Robert De Niro would kill the actual Henry Hill. Or he would call the actual Henry Hill.
You said kill.
I know I did. We've been talking about so much death. But he would call the real Henry Hill sometimes 8 times a day to ask him like the most mundane questions and be like, Henry, how did Jimmy like pour ketchup out of a bottle? How would he hold his cigarette? And like he would go and interview with Henry and like other people who knew him, who knew Jimmy, and like try to find out every little detail he could about him. But then I feel like, I don't know if it's on Scorsese or what, but the whole fact that he didn't portray the character as so crazy as he was actually there.
Interesting that he was calling Henry Hill who this movie is based off of, because Henry Hill is in the witness protection program still, or was still at this time. So like he just, what? How does that work? They were like, yeah, that's fine. Just give him a call.
When Henry Hill found out this movie was being made,
he
inserted himself into like every little facet of the movie as much as he could.
Yeah.
And so much so that he had to get kicked out of the witness protection agency.
No way.
They kicked him out because he kept showing up to things, and they were like, you have to keep a low profile. He's in Omaha.
Yeah.
And they're like, you can't.
He
Yeah, that's where he's at.
Is that where everybody goes when they're in witness protection? They just come to
No,
Omaha?
because Omaha's a great town.
All these retired mobsters mowing their lawns.
Yep.
It's cute.
Yeah. No, so he would show up at events once the movie came out and everything too, and he'd like hawk merchandise and stuff to try to make money.
Oh, 100%.
And so
see that.
yeah, it got to a point where they're like, we can't protect you anymore. You can't protect yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, he got kicked out.
Fascinating. Oh no. I gotta think of a new word.
So a couple other things casting wise, Scorsese cast actual wise guys to be in the movie. There are a lot of like the background characters or like people you just say like, hey there, Henry, or whatever. Like some of those guys are actual wise guys.
Yeah, so like when they're coming into the bar and they're
not
like,
all of them.
Oh, okay.
Just a few. I think he cast a total of 6.
Sure. Can I talk about that scene?
Yeah,
that
for
was one of
sure.
my favorite scenes. So they're in this bar and Ray Liotta is kind of like introducing to the camera the different characters. He's like, here's Johnny Three Fingers, here's Tommy Two Toes, here's Jimmy Two Time. He says everything 2 times.
You gotta go to the bathroom.
They're just like, there's glasses, Bobby the Glasses or whatever, or the eyes. I don't know. It was just, that's probably one of my favorite thing about mob movies.
And his guys, Frankie the Wop, Freddie No Nose, and then there was Pete the Killer, who was Sally Balls' brother. And you had Nicky Eyes.
What's up, guy?
And Mikey Francesi.
That guy, yeah, I want to see him.
And Jimmy Two Times, who got that nickname because he said everything twice, like...
I'm gonna go get the papers.
And then they talked about, too, like all of their sons or all their cousins or nephews are named Paul or Peter. Hey, Pete. Hey, Paulie. Petey Paulie.
Yep.
And then all their wives are named Marie.
Oh, my gosh. It's so funny. Do you have a mob name? Do you have a mob thing that you want us to call you the rest of the
let me
episode?
think about it, and I'll tell you by the end of it.
Okay.
And you can share your mob name, too.
Okay.
Unless you have it already.
Tito the Tiger.
Oh, that's cute.
So the federal agent who they like interview at the end of the movie when they're going into witness protection agency, the Hills do, Karen and Henry. And he says something about like, Karen, don't act like a deer in the woods or something like that. That guy is actually the exact guy who Henry Hill went to enter the witness protection agency. They interviewed him, and then he was like, do you have that part cast? I'll play it. He goes, I know exactly what I said to him.
Dude, okay, I wish this is one of those moments when I didn't say it out loud, but I thought it. So you're just going to have to trust me that I thought that.
Really?
I thought, this guy is not an actor. This guy is a real deal. He's like a real cop.
Yep.
Who would say those things. Because it just, I don't know, it was in the delivery or something. Like, you could tell that he does this for a living, but not the acting part of it.
Yep.
Should have said something.
Hey, it's okay.
No one's gonna believe me.
They all think you're lying. Liars! Lying, dying
I
liars.
swear.
Another member of the cast was a real-life detective who later found out...
Bo Dietl.
What? What's Bo
That's the
Dietl?
name of the detective who pulls him over.
What?
There's a detective
Yeah?
who gets Ray Liotta
Yeah?
when he's in the driveway.
Uh-huh.
I think that's the guy. Can you want to finish what you were going to say?
Well, I
Bo
was...
Dietl is a famous detective in New York or somewhere like that, and he looked a lot like him.
Oh, well, I don't know. It might be.
No.
That's not what I was going to say.
I better Google this.
I don't know who Bo Dietl is. I'm sorry.
All right.
So,
Continue.
there was a police detective who got hired on to be one of the characters. I don't know what character it was.
Sure.
It might have even been an
Say
extra.
more.
And this guy was a police detective in real life.
Yes.
And I don't know if he played a police detective or he was a mob boss or what. But he was found out after the film concluded to be working with the mob, and he was actually carrying out hits for the mob. So he ends up being an actual criminal. Is that Bo Dietl?
I think maybe.
Yeah, don't look it up now. Save
wanna
it.
Google
we
it
could
right
do
now.
we could do an extra
All
thing
right.
at the very end there.
I'll
But you
Google
could
it
maybe
later.
confirm or deny. Or maybe next week.
Okay.
Which I have a thing to confirm. I said Henry Ford and I meant John Ford on 'Tis Pity She's a Whore when I was quoting that or something a while back. That was last episode. So I want to just come clean about
I
that
just
right now.
want to clear the air.
Clear the air. I know
did
everybody
that.
was very upset. They're like, that's not Henry Ford. He builds cars. He has the right plays. So this movie was shot in how many days, Rach?
1 year.
No.
That's taking
Your
my
phone got
away.
taken away.
No, I was so
Yeah.
close.
No.
I was so
No Bo
close.
Dietl information right now. 1 year, a whole year. It's a long shoot.
Well, I don't know.
It's a long movie.
It seemed long. It was over 2 hours.
It was
2.5.
shot in 72 days in 1989. You want to see the Bo Dietl stuff so bad.
I'm
You're just
listening.
like looking at me
I'm
like,
listening.
God, I want my phone because I've got Bo Dietl questions up the
I was
wazoo right now.
I was one search button away from finding
well,
out.
good. You're done. You're cut off.
I'm pretty sure it was Bo Dietl.
Okay, let's just say it was Bo Dietl. Hey, everybody. Breaking news.
I was right again. I didn't say anything.
In this movie,
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of F-bombs.
Mm.
Rach,
Yes?
how many... Say the F-bomb for us. Rach, how many F-bombs were in this movie?
Not as many as Scarface.
Okay.
Are there more than Scarface?
I don't remember what Scarface's number
Scarface
was.
has the record, I thought.
Well,
Whoa.
it might not right
Is that
now.
a thunderstorm?
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh, the lights just flickered in our
In our studio closet.
studio. One of them.
So how many F-bombs do you think there were?
20?
No, way more.
Way more? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I heard that many. Way more? 200.
Way more.
Way more than 200?
Well, not way more. This is going to be classic, like, Rach overshoots at 1,200.
300.
There were 300 exactly. Nice job. Well,
Ooh.
over 300. The script only had 70 written in, and actors would just throw them in willy-nilly. So they added 230 F-bombs. It has the 12th most F-bombs of all time. So that
Okay.
probably means Scarface would be higher.
I think so.
And on average, there's 2 per minute in the film. Other movies on that list. Wolf of Wall Street,
Mm-hmm.
which has 569.
Jeez
But that's also like an
Louise.
8-hour movie, so that kind of goes along with that.
That makes sense.
And then there's a movie called SwearNet. And do you know Trailer Park Boys? They were comedians in like the early 2000s on Comedy Central. I didn't know them either. But like,
no
yeah.
idea.
I did a little research and they were pretty popular back in that time period. Then in the SwearNet movie they made, there was over 900 F-bombs. That's like you just cussing constantly.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds awful to listen to be honest. Like, at some point I just start to tune it out, but it just makes you sound stupid.
Yeah, yep. Now, Joe Pesci's mom, speaking of F-bombs, she was not happy with her
His
son.
real life mom.
His real life mom thought that it was not cool how much he swore.
That is adorable.
Kind of like Data
Adorable.
in Goonies, how he couldn't say the S word. He had to go
So he had to spell it.
S-H-I-T. Now, there is a famous scene in this movie, Rach. Let's see if you can pick out. What's the famous scene?
The famous scene in this movie.
It's like its iconic scene.
It's not the one where they're like saying like where they're arguing at the beginning in the bar, and he's like, "You think I'm an idiot, or you think I'm funny?"
Yes.
That's the
You think I'm funny?
Yeah, I think you're funny.
Yep.
And
That
he goes
scene.
like, "What's so funny about me?"
Exactly.
That's it.
So that scene's iconic.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And that scene was actually all Joe Pesci. He almost came up with the entire concept of the whole scene. Scorsese had written in a scene with a conversation with like just his character noted. By the way, a lot of the script would just be like, we're going to ad lib and this is kind of your general content. But so he had told Pesci, I want you to just like tell a story with this. And Joe Pesci kind of grew up kind of close to the mob. I don't know if you remember this from Jersey Boys. But he's like in the beginning of the musical Jersey Boys because he knew the Four Seasons and like gets him set up.
Oh yeah.
And he kind of worked a little bit with the mob,
Sure.
like around the mob. He wasn't really in it, but kind of a lot of close proximity.
Yep.
And so Joe Pesci had overheard this time at a restaurant when he was working there, I think as a busboy. And he heard somebody say to a wise guy, like, "You're funny." And the wise guy, when he had said this joke, then the wise guy got really pissed. And he started saying, like, "How funny? What do you think I'm a clown? Think I'm here to entertain you and all this stuff?" And like got all pissed off and like looked like he was gonna beat the crap out of the guy. So he was like, "I have this idea for this scene." And Scorsese said, "This is perfect. I'm not gonna tell anybody about it."
No.
So that whole scene is done in one take.
Oh my gosh.
And it
you're
was
kidding.
Joe Pesci recreating the moment that he had witnessed with a wise guy, and Ray Liotta was not ready for it.
No.
And so everything that he does,
was
like,
so
and he
natural.
keeps
It was so
keeps
funny.
repeating the same sentence over again. He goes, "It's just the way you tell the story. It's just the way you tell the story," or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
it's like he
yeah.
doesn't know how to react because he was not ready
He's
for
like,
it.
"What? That's not.
Yep.
You're supposed to just what?"
Yeah. So, and all the guys like around the table and everything, like they just kind of get quiet because the scene goes off the rails. They think, and they think it's gonna be like a cut moment, and then nothing gets cut, and so they're just waiting there.
Oh my
So
gosh.
this is one of those movie magic moments. So that's another like little piece that adds to the allure of that scene.
Sure.
Really funny. What do you mean I'm funny? It's funny, you know. It's a good story. It's funny. You're a funny guy. What do you mean? You mean the way I talk? What? It's just, you know, you're just funny. It's funny, you know, the way you tell the story and everything. Funny how? I mean, what's funny about it?
Tommy, no, you got it all wrong.
Oh, Anthony. He's a big boy. He knows what he said. What'd you say?
You're right.
Funny how? What?
Just, you know, you're funny.
You mean,
So?
well, let me understand this, because maybe it's me, I'm a little fucked up, maybe. But I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you? I make you laugh? I'm here to fucking amuse you? What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
Yeah, I mean, watching that, it made me squirm, but like in a great way. And then I thought it was super funny. Also very funny, Ray Liotta's laugh. in
Oh,
that
yeah, he
scene.
has a crazy
He holds his face so weird. It's like if you were to open your mouth really wide and then to just like push your chin all the way back.
Yeah, it's true.
It's something to behold.
Yeah, for sure. Now another crazy moment in the movie where Joe Pesci, he shoots at this kid who's delivering drinks.
Yeah.
He says like he's gonna make him dance or something.
Yep.
And then what happens?
He shot him in the foot.
Yep. And then the guy
Accidentally.
comes back
Yep.
and he says, "Go F yourself" or whatever to Joe
Yep.
Pesci. So then Joe Pesci shoots and kills him.
Shoots him.
Now in that scene, I don't know if it was in the first one where he shoots him in the foot or if it was the one where he shoots him and kills him. But in one of those two like little like gambling bar scenes or whatever, he actually cut himself on some glass that was on the table. Joe Pesci did, and his hand started bleeding profusely. Or no, this wasn't him. This was the kid who got shot, the spider kid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he cut his hand on a piece of glass, and then they brought him to the ER, and he had blood all over his chest from when they had did the fake shooting. How Joe Pesci
Yeah.
had fake shot him. And so they rushed him to the ER right away, and they started like cutting open his shirt and like looking at his chest, and they're like, where's your injury?
Oh my
And
gosh.
he was like, "Oh, I don't have an injury there. I cut my hand." And they were like, "Oh." And so they sent him back out, and he had to wait for 3 hours in the waiting room, and he wasn't allowed to be operated on then. They're like, "Hey, we have more serious stuff than this. You gotta go back
Then
out
your
then."
cut hand.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Just another day in Hollywood.
Now, this is known as a super bloody and violent movie.
Yes.
Now, if you had to guess, how many people were killed in this movie?
Oh man. 25?
Way less than that.
Oh.
There are only 5 people that you actually see get shot in this movie.
Oh, but there are so many like dead
And then
bodies though.
there's 5 others. So there's only 10 total.
Oh, okay.
Is that crazy?
Yeah, I thought it was more than that.
It feels way more than that.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
I was thinking
but
like
there's
that.
only 10 people who get killed in this movie.
Yeah.
And comparing that to other movies, do you want to guess how many there were in Saving Private Ryan?
How many people get killed in that war movie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. I don't know. I mean, bombs drop at times. Like, who knows?
There were 255 deaths in Saving Private Ryan.
Jeez.
What about the movie 300?
300?
Yep.
300.
Oh, 300 people died?
300 people died.
Well, the 300 die, but then there's more people they
Just
take
a
with
couple of the other guys, but mostly just the 300 guys died.
them. Oh, okay. There's 600 people who die in that
Oh, okay.
one.
That makes sense.
And then what about in Return of the King? Lord of the Rings?
Oh, I mean, are we counting orcs as people?
Yep.
Yep. Let's say 800.
That's a really good guesser. 836.
Yeah, I felt good about it when I said it.
Oh my gosh. So, 2 different castmates in the movie wanted to welcome Ray Liotta to a mob movie. And one of them was Robert De Niro. And how they welcomed him was an homage to another mob movie. Can you think of something that they would do?
They put a horse's head
Yes.
in his bed.
Yeah, no, it was in his dressing room.
Nope,
but yep.
it's in his bed because that's how it is in the movie The Godfather.
Yes. So that happened.
Like a real horse's head? Like a
No,
pretend
it was a
horse's
fake
head.
one.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
just a
I just
prop
wanted
one.
to clarify.
But I think that's pretty fun. Like, hey, welcome to the genre.
Yeah, that's real fun. Like, who doesn't want to wake up with like a horse head in your
just
bed?
it's not in the bed. It was in his dressing room.
Yeah, but
You keep
still,
changing the story.
It just
It was just a
sound
fake one in his dressing room, like a prop horse head.
adorable. It's adorable.
So Ray Liotta, to get into character, when he was driving to the set every day, he had like a 45-minute drive, and he would listen to FBI tapes of them interviewing mobsters.
Oh.
And he would listen to like the back and forth and stuff to kind of get into
Sure.
character, how mobsters talk and
Yeah,
things like
yeah.
that. So a lot of the guys really did their research.
Yeah, hey, take it easy. Come on, take it easy. Take it easy.
Oh my god.
Is that from this movie? I heard people say it a few times, but
Hey, take it easy.
take it easy.
You're always so much more Italian. You just got off the boat recently.
Yes,
Your New
I
Yorker did.
Yes, I did.
So that's fun. Scorsese is kind of like super high strung and overbearing a little bit at times. And
Shocking.
Yeah, he would like want every little exact detail to be perfect on his sets, including he would do Ray Liotta's tie every morning when they were going to start filming because he wanted it to be just perfect. So he
Wow.
would do his tie for him. He's like, nope, this is wrong.
The wardrobe person couldn't figure out how to do the tie right.
Or Ray Liotta himself.
Sure. Huh.
Yep, Scorsese had to do it.
Scorsese.
Yep, Scorsese. You little old geese.
Those glasses, though.
You like the Scorsese glasses?
They're iconic.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't not like them. I think they're kind of fun.
Robert De Niro, he would pick out like special accessories for each of one of his costumes. He'd make sure he had like the perfect watch and the perfect rings to go along with each outfit and things. And he would carry around on set with him $5,000 of his own money. He had it in cash, bundled up in his coat pocket that he would carry around with him the whole time just because it made him feel like more like a mob boss or more like a gangster.
I mean, cool, I guess.
Yeah, that one, I feel like, why did you need to do that? You can't act.
Right?
I can
Right?
give you Monopoly money, and you should be able to feel like, yeah, I'm a boss.
This is just like when Renee Zellweger
Oh,
took
no.
a 3-month temp job at a book publishing place because she couldn't figure out how to answer the phone and say, hello, publishing.
Yep.
Like, that's all you did
Yeah,
in
that's
the
all
movie.
you did in the movie.
It wasn't that hard, was it?
It wasn't.
3 months. And maybe hers was for the dialect, but
Well,
Let's
the
be
dialect I
honest.
understand, but
Yeah.
you could have just hung out
yes.
at bars and like joined
absolutely.
book clubs. Like you can do a lot of things. Go to shows.
Actors, sometimes you just gotta act.
Yeah, sometimes
know?
you do.
You
I
just gotta
agree. I
act.
actually agree with that. But there are times where it really is helpful to have a little something.
Sure.
But I think you can. It doesn't have to be $5,000 of real money. You can have fake money and it's just the same. You can hang out with Brits, but you don't have to get the exact job that you are going to have because you know what that job's going to entail, especially when it's receptionist. But anyways, so
Yeah.
actors, take a chill pill. Now, let's get into like when the movie was kind of released or like kind of starting to get ready to be released. They went into previews and the film had an abnormal amount of walkouts. People did not like it. They thought it was bloody and gory and too brutal.
Sure.
And the first showing, the first big showing they did, went pretty poorly. And I think the production team kind of knew it was going to go poorly. And so they actually went across the street and they like hid in a bowling alley because when they saw people start to get upset, they're like, hey, let's go to this bowling alley and just hide out until it's done and let people clear out because people just were not fans of it right off the bat.
Yeah.
It finally releases in September of 1990, which maybe then League of Their Own was after this.
Yeah, I
It
think
might have
so.
been, yeah. And it cost $25 million to make. It only made $6 million on opening weekend. It was number 1, though, when it first released, but it fell to number 2 right after that. And it was number 1. It beat out these 2 movies. Postcards from the Edge.
Wait, what?
With Meryl Streep, with
I
your
don't
gal.
I don't know that movie.
It's kind of like, I was going to make a joke about it being boring and dumb, but it's kind of like the autobiography for Carrie Fisher. She wrote it.
Oh.
And it's like about her relationship with her mom and stuff and like being an
Yeah.
actress and trying to get back into
Yeah.
work after being a drug
Debbie
addict
Reynolds.
and stuff.
Interesting.
Yep. So it's kind of an interesting tale, but interesting. There we go.
Interesting.
There's your concept
New
before.
word for the day today.
And then it also, number 3 on that list was a movie called Problem Child. Have you seen Problem Child?
Have I? Did you love it so much? Do you remember what it was about, Ty?
I actually do.
What was it about?
Problem Child?
Yeah.
What's Problem Child about, Rach?
No, I was trying to. I tried to flip it towards you.
Okay, I'll
Did
tell you what
see
really
it?
Problem Child's about.
Yeah.
Problem Child, okay, who's the guy who plays Iago? It's like, yeah, Polywater.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know his real name, but
I'm
yeah.
gonna shove crackers down his mouth.
Yep.
So, okay.
Great Iago, by the way. Just top aces all around.
Let me do my New York for you. If I'm Rage. So that guy, he is at an adoption agency, right?
Okay.
And there is a couple parents that can't have babies, but they want to adopt a kid. And they're like, well, we have this great kid from this foster home that we want to give him to you. And he's like known as like the devil incarnate. So he's so horrible that even like the nuns at this like Catholic school that he goes to all like cheer and have balloons and stuff when he's leaving because they're so happy. And they're like, this kid's the devil and stuff like that. And then he comes home and he like does mean stuff to the cat and he like starts the house, and he doesn't start the house on fire, but he starts stuff on fire. He's just insane. He just destroys everything.
Behavior disorder.
He does. He's
Yeah.
EBD is really what it is.
Yeah.
It's a tale about EBD.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't remember how it ends, but I've seen it.
But Iago is like the dad?
No, he's the adoption center guy, and I don't remember the name of the guy who plays
I
the
was
dad.
like, who would give him a child? The random Iago Give me that child! That's a fascinating movie.
Yep. So Goodfellas makes $46 million overall, and there were 5 taglines to try to promote this movie. Here's a few of them, and you tell me what you think of each of them, or you can just tell me your favorite.
Yeah.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. That was 1. 3 decades of life in the mafia. Murderers come with smiles. Shooting people was no big deal. And in a world that's powered by violence, on the streets where the violent have power, a new generation carries on an old tradition.
I think those are all terrible.
I think so too.
I think they're all garbage.
I
They're
thought so
either too
too.
long or they're not catchy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's dumb. I like the first one is probably the best one.
Because
to me.
that's a quote in the movie.
That's the quote in the movie.
very first quote you hear.
And that's like, yeah, right. It starts the movie off from forever I can remember I wanted to be in the mob or whatever. That's the best one.
Yep.
And it's not even that good.
I think the last one is so like convoluted and long. In a world that's powered by violence,
I already stopped
on the
listening.
streets where the violent have power, a new generation carries on an old tradition.
First off, you didn't need to start it with 2 prepositions. You have on the streets or in a world. Like, just pick one or the other. Is it in a world or is it on the streets?
Yeah.
Just do one.
You're right.
Just do on the streets.
And you don't even need. And then they have violence and violent in it too.
Oh, God.
That whole quote needs to be quoted up.
Writing here. This is basic English grammar, people.
Yep.
Come on.
Yeah, you tell them.
I will.
You don't have that math brain, but you got that literary brain.
Some days.
Rotten Tomatoes. You want
Yes.
to guess what the score is?
I mean, here's what I'll say about this film. While it might not have done very well, I get that this had somehow along the lines, and maybe you'll get into this or not, but it became somewhat of a cult classic, right? Like, this is like a frat boy, college boy. Everyone had this poster.
Yep.
This is that movie, right?
Yes.
I think as far as being a truthful mob story and, like, peeking into that life, I think it's pretty accurate. I mean, I know it said that it was based on a true story, but even just the storytelling, you can tell that there's nothing like that's so crazy or outlandish that you're not like, oh yeah, I bet something like that actually happened, you know? So I can appreciate it for that. I think the acting is really good. I think everyone's solid in it. I just always have a problem with Scorsese, like, not like knowing like where. I mean, granted, it's off of a book. So, I don't know, just the storytelling piece. It's like, I feel like his climax was like a minute before the end of the movie.
Do you feel like my buddy Johnny Stapleton has a problem with this? He writes things that are too long. I shouldn't say your last
Whoa.
name.
First
He does.
off.
He does. And he knows. He makes fun of himself about it. It's not pot shot. But it is at the same time. So I always feel like it's one of those things that you get so attached to your work.
Sure.
And like there's nothing in the movie that's not good. It's like everything is good, but I think you got to keep what's great and you got to cut what's just good.
Yeah, what's not necessary.
Yeah.
You know?
I
Yeah.
truly believe you and I have a distinct ability to cut things, though. Like,
We are ruthless
we are.
cutters.
It's like, do we need it? It's like, it's good. But yeah, but it's good. It's such a cool like, little monologue or whatever. Yeah, but do we need it?
Yeah.
Does it move the story forward? And if the answer is no, chop, 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 baby.
Yeah.
Chop, 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 chop.
Yeah, like we're doing cuts for the show that we're doing, soon Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and I have my character basically doesn't stop talking all of Act 1, and we probably cut that sucker down from, I don't know, maybe 40, 45 minutes to 30 minutes.
Yep.
At least 10 minutes to 15 minutes are just gone dialogue. And there's some cool things that we cut, but we were just ruthless. We're like, nope, don't need to say
Don't
that,
need
don't
it.
need that.
Don't
Check,
need
check,
it.
check, check, check.
Yep.
So
And I like our cut.
I think it's good.
Yeah, and we did the same thing like Tom Sawyer. Oh, I shouldn't say this on air.
Uh-oh.
But
I probably shouldn't have said that last thing I said on air. Oh no.
Tennessee Williams Foundation.
Uh-oh.
Lose this number.
We didn't do anything to your script.
Yeah, we've like mishmashed scripts together and stuff in the past. I won't say which ones because writers will be mad. But yeah, we've done a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah,
and we're good
sometimes
at
you
it.
just like take from both places.
Yeah.
Everything just a little good. A little
Everything's-
good here, a little good there.
Little great, little good.
Yeah.
So Rotten Tomatoes score. Do you have a
Yes.
guess?
I'm doing my best Godfather. I'm thinking 71%.
Way too low.
Way too low.
96%.
What?
Audience score.
No.
97%.
No. No.
Okay, save it. Critics' consensus. Hard-hitting, stylish. Goodfellas is a gangster classic and arguably the highest point of Scorsese's career. Boom.
Whoa.
Let the beat drop. Boom, 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 boom.
Strongly disagree. I'm probably alone on that.
Roger Ebert loved this movie so much, Rach. This is going to blow your mind.
Roger Ebert.
Roger-
What does he know?
Roger Ebert said this is the third best movie in the 90s. Imagine the 90s.
I'm thinking.
Forrest Gump,
Yeah.
Titanic. Like, there are some real awesome movies in the 90s, right? Can't hardly wait.
League of Their Own.
Yeah, League of Their Own. And he said this is the third best movie. The best movie of the decade is Pulp Fiction, according to Roger Ebert.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Pulp Fiction. I disagree with this,
Yeah,
but
I get it.
he
It's
says
a
Pulp.
classic.
It's so interesting, like
Yeah.
how it's shot and everything is
Yes.
really fascinating. So Pulp Fiction is his number one, and then he had a documentary that he liked, but this was number 3.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
he got nominated for 6 Oscars.
Oh my gosh.
It did not win Best Picture. It lost in 1990 to. You have a guess?
Nope. I want to hear it.
Dances with Wolves.
Dances with Wolves.
Which I have seen, but it was so long ago. Like, I think I was in middle school or maybe even grade school. And don't really remember it at all.
Well, it doesn't withstand the test of time. It's a white savior story.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yep.
It's kind of problematic.
I'm not a Kevin Costner guy.
And
Like,
it's
I
Kevin,
think he's
and
so
it's Kevin
boring.
Costner, so say no more.
Yep. He's somebody you're like, you're doing nothing. You're doing nothing. I'm Kevin Costner.
Oh, Dances with Wolves. I think this is better than Dances with Wolves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you think it should have won the Oscar?
I didn't say that. I said it's better than Dances with Wolves.
You thought the Postcards from Heaven or whatever the
I don't know.
Meryl Streep movie should
I'm
have won?
not saying that either. I'm just saying it's better
I mean,
than
that movie
Dances
did
with
pretty well.
Wolves.
So this movie, though, did win an Oscar for a Mr. Joe Pesci, who won Best Supporting Actor.
Mm-hmm.
He beat out, we already mentioned Al Pacino's Big Boy in Dick Tracy. And then he
Probably
beat out
valid.
another mob guy who was in Godfather 3. I don't remember Godfather 3. I only saw it once, like in middle school. And I know that's not an appropriate age to watch it, but that's when it was. And I don't remember this guy at all, but another guy got nominated for
Okay.
Best Supporting Actor. So 3 mob guys in one Best Supporting Actor class.
Mm-hmm.
He thought he wasn't going to win at all.
Yeah.
And he never made a speech because he thought there was no
Aw.
chance. His acceptance speech is the shortest speech of all time. It is only 5 words. It is, "It's my privilege. Thank you."
Oh.
I like it
That's-
because sometimes they ramble on.
Oh, 100%.
And you got to know, like, and I know we have to thank so many people,
Mm-hmm.
but I think, can't you just thank people in, like, a general way? And then just pick out a few specific people? Like, do we have to, like, name everybody, you know, and those things? I got to thank so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. Can't you just say, like, I want to thank everybody who supported me? It just gets boring.
Yeah, unless you're one of the people that, like, they're standing on the shoulders of to get there. Then you're like, you better say my name. You're here because of me. As your agent or as whoever. Like,
Well, I'm going to say this right now.
what? You better thank me.
If
I
I
want to be thanked.
Well, yeah, you thank your wife and your kids
You
and
better.
your immediate family. You even think you're, like, best friends and stuff. But I'm not going to thank Dr. Hustles.
You need to stop with the names. You're going to get us kicked off the air.
I love the man. I love him, but I would not thank him in an award speech. Why? Thanks for helping me through grad school. You're the best. It's like, I've already told him thank you. I don't need to do it on an award stage.
Fair.
Unless he's giving me the award.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair again.
So,
but
that's how I
that's
feel.
really endearing, though. Joe Pesci. Only saying
Yeah.
just a couple
It's
of lines.
my privilege. Thank you. And you know, everybody was so mad. What about my thank you?
No, nobody was mad. They didn't expect it either.
Yeah, that's probably true. This movie is number 92 on AFI's top 100 movies of all time.
Okay.
And it's named the second best gangster movie of all time to...
The Godfather?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that feels right.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Well, you haven't
no,
seen it.
It doesn't feel right. I've seen The Godfather.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
When did you see The Godfather?
I've told you I've seen The Godfather. You keep saying, like, no, you haven't seen it, but I have seen it.
You saw a documentary that showed you all the
No,
highlights. Yeah, I was there when you watched it.
I've also seen it.
When did you watch it?
I don't know.
Was I
separately.
gone?
Probably.
That's a movie for summers off. You just spoiled summers off.
I don't know what to tell you.
When did you watch this?
We're going to take a little break real quick. We're going to come back to you.
All right, let's get into some trivia. This movie didn't have room for all of Henry Hill's craziest antics.
Oh.
Robert De Niro's character and Henry Hill, Ray Liotta, they bought off Boston College's football players, and they had them purposefully lose games and shave off points, and then they would gamble on them to make money.
What?
Yeah, so they had, like, corrupted the Boston College football team.
Hey, Boston.
Another thing that happened was there's this cosmetic genius and entrepreneur lady
Okay.
back in, I think it was the 70s or 80s. And
Mary Kay.
no, but think Mary Kay, like that though.
Okay.
She was this really famous, really rich cosmetic lady.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a crush on Henry Hill.
Okay.
So Henry Hill took her out on this really lavish, expensive date. And meanwhile, he had his, like, gang of cronies raid her hotel room and rob her blind
What?
while he was on a date with her.
What a punk.
Yep.
Henry Higgins. Harold Hill.
And then we already talked about a little bit about him getting kicked out of the Witness Protection Agency. But he died in 2012 of natural causes.
Okay.
And he was shocked. He did not get whacked.
Yeah.
Even when he left the Witness Protection Agency, he
was
did not
just-
get whacked. And one of the reasons
Seems
why
a stool pigeon.
is because Jimmy
Yeah?
died like 10 years before he was supposed to get out of the can. He was in there for 25 years.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to get out in 04, and I think he dies in 96 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And so he died before he could get out.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if he would have got out, he probably would have killed him for sure.
Sure.
So-
or had somebody, but like at some point it gets so, down the totem pole that it's like nobody cares anymore. All those guys are dead or in jail, so
Exactly. So Henry Hill said a little bit of it came down to luck that all those guys happened to die before this movie and that book came out and everything.
Yeah.
And they would have tracked him down at that point.
For sure.
Hey, do you wanna reveal your mob name yet?
Nope, not yet.
Rachie the Rascal.
Oh, I like that.
Hey, there's the scene with those mob wives, right?
Yeah.
Why does one have a face that's half blue like she's in Braveheart, like she's gonna go charging in a battle?
I don't know. Yeah, they're getting like spa treatments, and it's literally like this blue goo that this lady's painting on her face. It's
Like, what is that
What
thing?
kind of weird mask is that? I've never seen that color blue before in a face mask.
She really looked like she was in Braveheart.
That was crazy.
Hey, what'd you think of that scene with Pesci's mom's painting that she pulls out?
I love that. And that would be one of the things you would think that maybe that's not necessary. I would keep that.
Oh, I love it.
I would keep that. Yeah, so she pulls out, it's like, oh, you like my new painting? Like this, adorable, like, little Italian mama. There's, like, a dead guy in the car, and they're coming in, like, hey, we just need to borrow the shovel, Mom. She's
Yeah.
like, sit down, I'll make your food.
Yeah.
And then they're sitting there, and then she's like, see my new painting. And it's got these dogs on it. And
Joe Pesci explains it the best. He's like, yeah, does you like it? He's facing that way. He's facing that way. And then he's saying, like, what do you want with me?
It's beautiful.
I like this one. One dog goes one way and the other dog goes the other way.
One is going east and the other one is going west. So what?
And this guy's saying, what do you want from me?
I really enjoyed that part.
It was funny.
That was delightful.
Yeah.
And I know that really happened.
That's a true story.
I think that's probably a true story.
All right, so I want to get into your stuff.
Yeah.
Let's go into it now. You talk about some things that you noticed in the movie, a little bit about your thoughts and stuff, and I think then we can kind of transition into. I have a big question for you.
Okay. Yeah, I trying to think of anything new to tell you other than
What was your craziest death?
the craziest death.
Yeah, the craziest moment in the movie. I guess it doesn't have to be a death, just a moment.
I mean, one of the ones that, when he shoots the kid at
Spider?
the bar, Spider, yeah.
Yep,
after he
shooting
had
him in
just
the
shot
foot.
him in the foot, he's got his foot all bandaged, and he's putting drinks down at the table, and he says whatever to him, and then he just like boom shoots him. Like, oh, that's crazy. I think when Tommy gets shot when he goes to being a mob boss and they kill
What
him.
I
like,
like
that
about
one
that
kinda made
moment
me, like,
is,
jump.
so they're bringing him in to be a made man, and they walk him upstairs, and they're like talking about like what it was like when those older guys got initiated or whatever, and they walk into a room, and there's nothing there besides like a fish hanging on the wall and stuff.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Almost
What
like,
was that about?
I don't know. It's almost like you're a dead fish or something.
Yeah.
But and then he goes, oh, and he says the S word or whatever. He's like, oh,
Yeah,
crap.
yeah.
And then he gets shot in the head.
Yeah.
I think that moment's pretty freaking cool.
Mhm. Yeah, that one made me jump. I was like, geez, I was not ready for that.
Yep.
Although you would think you kind of saw it coming, but anywho, nobody's safe.
Nobody was safe.
Nobody
Yeah,
was
even
safe.
Robert De Niro tries to kill Karen Hill.
Yeah, Ray Liotta's wife at one point when he's starting to figure out that Ray Liotta has been gotten into selling cocaine and he's probably going to go down and he might start start
talking.
squealing.
Yep.
Yeah, she comes to him and he gives her some money and then he's like, "Hey, I've got these great Dior dresses. Do you want to go take a look at them?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll look." And yeah, and he sends her down this alleyway or whatever and then at the very end of it there's these guys. I'm not even sure what would have happened had she gone instead of she got chicken at the last minute and turned around and drove off. But
Yeah, I think he was going to kill her because one of the reasons is he asks Ray Liotta earlier in the movie. He was talking about the guy who sells wigs. And he goes, "Hey, do you think he talks to his wife about everything?" And he's like, yeah, he talks to everybody about everything.
Sure.
And so I think that was a moment like
Yeah.
he was going to try to whack his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at this moment, it's like, yeah, you tell your wife everything too, I bet. She knows about all the cocaine and everything.
Yeah.
I'm going to whack your wife too.
Yeah, that'd be a scary, scary biz.
Mhm.
It's all fun and games at the Copacabana until,
You always get to a certain level. It's
Yeah.
always like the rise is always real fun.
Yeah, it always looks so glamorous. Like,
Yep.
oh, we're backstage. Oh, we
There's money
get
flying
champagne
everywhere.
service
You feel like a
and-
king.
Mhm.
And then your time at the top of the mountain is very short-lived.
Yep.
And you
Yep.
start the rapid decline, and that's where
Mhm.
everything
you
goes
get
to
too
hell.
big. You want too much.
Yep. That's the lesson.
Yep. Usually it's involved in drugs.
Yeah.
Yep. As old as time.
All right. So, well, maybe I want to know this now. No, I want to know it after. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead and break it down.
My overall review.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep. And get off that detective.
I'm off of it. I just had to look at it to see what I wrote down.
What's that guy's name again?
Deedle. Bo Deedle.
Bo Deedle.
I'll let you know.
Oh,
I think it
know
was
you
him.
will.
I think it was him.
Okay.
All right, here's my review for Goodfellas.
Not Goodfellas?
Goodfellas. Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. He's a
Goodfellas.
little Russian. I love it. We're going to watch Eastern Promises next, another gangster movie of only with Russians.
Unlike Jimmy Two Time, you only need to watch Goodfellas one time. 65%.
Hey, it's fresh, though.
It's fresh, but just watch it one time.
All right. Well, here's a
got-
good
that got
question for you.
bad.
What do you think it is sat for me? What do you think I rate it?
In the 70s?
Okay.
In the 80s?
No, just tell me a number. Just guess a number.
I did, and you just looked
Well,
at
you
me
just
like
said
you looked at
70s,
me like a
80s.
dead fish.
You can't just be like in these 20% range. That's not good enough.
75%.
Close. 70%.
Hmm.
I actually don't rate it as high as you probably would think. I think it's good.
Yeah.
I'm entertained.
So we're actually really close on this.
Yeah, and that tells you how I feel about some of Scorsese's other movies. Like
Yeah.
that's just my favorite. It's a
Ooh.
70%.
Yeah, you don't like Scorsese.
No, I do. I think a lot of them are in the 60s for me. They're like right at fresh.
So you also disagree with the 96 or 97%
yeah,
that is
I think
given?
that's way too high.
Way too high.
Yeah.
Way too high.
Yep.
There are too many things wrong with this
Mhm.
to be that high.
Yep.
I don't know.
And you were talking about the climax. Do you want to get in on the climax discussion a little
Well,
bit
just
more?
like, I mean, the movie, as are many mob movies, I feel like sometimes it's just like going from, similar with Irishman too, it just goes
Mhm.
from hit to hit to hit to hit. And it kind of feels like, where's the big build? Like they kind of,
Mhm.
I thought they were going to build to it. There's this big job that they do in this movie and it ends
Big
up getting them,
heist.
big heist. And they end up getting $6 million. I thought like, oh, this is going to be like the culminating story.
Yep.
But then that happens.
The heist is really not even a part
The
of
heist
the
is
movie.
not even. And then, like, we start getting into drugs and cocaine and selling that. And
Mm-hmm.
I think, okay, at some point, something's going to go down. And it does. But then, like, the falling action, I mean, we've got. And what I would say is, like, when the cops come to his house and he's, like, getting ready to send cocaine off to wherever.
Mhm.
And then they find it everywhere. And then he goes to jail. And then he's on the witness stand. And then the movie's over.
Yeah.
And so, like, I just think that moment should have been back just a tish. Or. I don't know, something too with mob movies, I feel like, and maybe not, I shouldn't say all mob movies, with this movie,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I feel like they're just written so that they're just going from action to action to action, and you never, like, really get a moment for the actor to internalize anything or to, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just like I'm always reacting to things that are happening, and I'm never... I don't know how to describe. I'm not acting. I'm just reacting to things that are happening to me, and it's crazy. And it just doesn't. I don't know. I can't explain.
You never have
it.
time to, like, the mobsters never process anything.
Yeah,
Like,
and
they're
I just
always
think the
just, like,
storytelling is just
riding
like,
the
oh,
wave.
then I woke up and this happened, and then the next day I woke up and that happened.
Yeah.
It's like, what about like some really good dialogue or some really good, like, heartfelt, like, father-son-ish relationships at a booth somewhere, you know, like that didn't happen. There
Mhm.
weren't any
Yeah,
moments.
it really doesn't happen at all in
There's
this
no
movie.
moments for
I would say
anybody.
in The Irishman you get a little bit of that.
In The Irishman, yes.
Yeah.
I would agree with you there. But in this movie, I didn't feel like really. I didn't feel much connection between a lot of the characters.
Yeah, sure.
There were hints of it, but there could have been more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think so.
It's very rambly. I'm sorry, but I was just
No,
trying to,
no,
like,
I think that
finding
makes
my
sense.
words here.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
I gotta ask the question everybody's wondering. Goodfellas or Scarface?
Scarface.
Yeah, why?
Yeah. I don't know, because Scarface has a beginning, middle, and an end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and similar has a rise to power, but I just think it's fascinating. It takes place like in the 70s.
Sure, it's got fun colors and music.
Yes, it's very colorful. Although I gotta say, I did love the early music in Goodfellas. Like, it's very like 40s and 50s doo-woppy stuff. So like, it's very nostalgic. Well, not nostalgic for me since I didn't grow up in that time, but I just love that music. So that was, and just seeing like the styles change. But I don't know. Scarface is just better. I mean, you know the climax for that one.
Oh yeah, Mountain of Cocaine.
Everyone knows the climax.
Machine
It's
gun,
very clear.
staircase. Yep, it's real
so
wild.
crazy. Is it a better film? Probably not, but I like it better.
Yeah. Okay. Well, since you've seen The Godfather, I guess I have to ask this question now.
I think I've seen The Godfather.
I don't think you have. I think you've watched that documentary, which spoiled all the major moments.
I've still seen enough of it to know that you probably don't need to show me it, because I feel like
don't
I've seen
think
it.
you have.
Were you gonna see it? Were we gonna watch it this season?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Well, maybe enough time.
We're
will
going to watch
pass.
that and Godfather Part 2, but you watched that stupid documentary, and I told you at the time to shut it off. I was like, stop watching this.
Shut this off so we can wait 5 years, and then I'll have you watch it with me. Is that what I should have done?
Yeah, that is.
Okay, just clarifying.
Okay. And you probably don't remember hardly. I'm going to have you, after this shuts off, I'm going to say, tell me everything you know about The Godfather. And you're going to run through every little plot point, and I'm going to tell.
And I'm going to tell you everything I know about Bo Dietl.
Okay, that's also fair. All right, so, well, from what you remember from that documentary you watched, what did you think between The Godfather and Goodfellas?
I think The Godfather.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To me, it's easy. It's totally The Godfather.
I think so. From the little bit that I've seen of The Godfather, I think I'll like that better.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't remember where I put Scarface, and I don't know which one I like more between Goodfellas and Scarface. I
Yeah?
think they're kind of right around the same mark for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
They're similar for sure.
Mhm. Yep, like I would put them a couple percentage points away from each other no matter which way it is.
Sure.
So, yeah.
That chainsaw scene, though.
Oh, that chainsaw scene was so cool in Scarface. Yeah.
And that's the hardest part. And today everything is different. There's no action. I have to wait around like everyone else. Can't even get decent food. Right after I got here, I ordered some spaghetti with marinara sauce, and I got egg noodles and ketchup. I'm an average nobody. Get to live the rest of my life like a schnook.
All right.
All right.
Well, you have a movie,
Yes.
right?
I do.
Do you know what it is?
I have a movie
and
for you.
Can you tell the audience what you told me?
I told you that I wasn't going to pick it until I saw this movie to decide how I wanted to respond to you.
You know, how bad it was going to
How
get.
bad it was going to be. So even here on the spot, I'm just going to pick a movie because
You didn't pick one?
I didn't. I didn't. And I thought this was good.
Yeah.
So, and this is the movie that I've just been dying to watch. So whether it makes sense or not, I don't care. We're going to watch it. And maybe people have never seen it, and I don't care. We're going to watch the movie Ever After
Oh.
with Drew Barrymore.
I have seen clips. I've actually seen the climax of this movie already.
What?
Yeah.
What?
That's, I think, all I've seen, though. I don't know anything about how we get there.
Okay.
All I have seen is Angel Wings at the dance, dancing with Prince Charming.
It's not Prince Charming. You're wrong. Wrong already. You're wrong already. We'll
That's what
watch
I've-
this.
That's what I've seen.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I've just been
Ever
really wanting
After.
to watch it, so we're gonna watch Ever After.
Okay.
Ah,
Sweet.
Excited. Oh,
Yeah.
Such a '90s film.
All right. Well, toodles. Till next week. Ever After.
Bye.
What's the matter with you, Rach? You think I'm funny? You think I'm funny, Rach?
No. I mean, yeah, you're a funny guy.
Oh, yeah, how am I funny?
Oh, you're funny.
Oh, you think I'm funny? Like how? Like I tell jokes? Like I'm a clown? Like I make you entertain you? I can went off the rails.